Well, we apologize for the slight hiccup. I am Mercy Gashebu Sembaja to bring you this morning's news update. I'll be joined by Livingstone Kawesi for sign language interpretation and translation. We'll start with what's happening in the papers around us here in Uganda. Locally is what I mean. Well, in the New Vision today, oil pipeline project gets 378 billion shillings boost. And they also bring you 160,000 jobs and business opportunities to be created. That is on page 10 of today's New Vision. And also NRM to review members of Parliament's performance according to Todwong. The ruling National Resistance Movement Party has finalized plans to conduct mid-term performance reviews for MPs, LC5 chairpersons and councillors elected on the party's ticket. And also, National Water and Sewage Corporation boss explains water tariff hike and hacking. Silva Mugisha, who is the managing director of National Water and Sewage Corporation, has been in the spotlight recently following reports of the proposed hike in the domestic water tariffs. And also, UK police expects 1 million people at the Queen's funeral. They bring a picture of the members of the public as they watch the hearsay carrying the coffin of the Queen Elizabeth II, draped in the Royal Standard of Scotland as it is driven through Edinburgh towards the Palace of Holyrood House yesterday. The coffin carrying the body left her Balmoral Castle yesterday, beginning a 6-hour journey to the Scottish capital of Edinburgh. And in sports, Kiplimo wins another race in the United Kingdom. Get the details of these stories and more in today's New Vision. And in the Daily Monitor, Speaker among bodyguard flees. The clerk to Parliament has suspended Mr. James Bamuwame and Mr. Louis Pachenga with immediate effect to pave way for investigations over their alleged involvement in processing travel documents for the security chief to the United States. Get details of this story on page 6. And also, Uganda smashes Germany, lifts bowl at Rugby World Cup. It is a victory for the beaters in rugby sports. And also, how man seeking justice ended up in prison. They also bring you learners stuck as parents fail to raise school fees in today's Daily Monitor. Well, because of time, allow me to take you straight into our international news update. We'll start with what's happening in the Middle East. A portrait of the Queen illuminates the Burj Khalifa, the tallest building in the world. The building is located in Dubai, United Arab Emirates, and carries the bright and bold tribute to the late monarch. The other side of the 830-meter skyscraper is lit with a Union Jack. The Queen's face is reflected on the world's tallest building to honor her life. She passed on last week on Thursday. And moving on, details have been revealed about how people can attend the Lying in State, which will take place at the Palace of Westminster later this week. It begins at 17 British Standard Time on Wednesday and will last until 6:30 on Monday, 19th of September, the day of the Queen's funeral. It will be open 24 hours a day between those times. Large crowds are expected, and there are warnings that those wanting to take a part in the historic occasion may have to wait for hours and even overnight. People are advised to bring food and drink as well as suitable clothes. The last member of the royal family to lie in state in the hall was the Queen Mother in 2002, when more than 200,000 people queued to view her coffin. Moving on to Australia, the Prime Minister has been forced to defend his announcement of a bank holiday to mark the Queen's death. Anthony Albanese announced a national memorial service that will be held at Parliament on the 22nd of September and declared the date a National Day of Mourning. Some, including small businesses and health workers, have criticized the decision to make it a public holiday. But Mr. Albanese says the public holiday was announced as soon as possible and is necessary for the nation to grieve and give gratitude. Moving on, William and Catherine, the new prince and princesses of Wales, along with Harry and Meghan, are viewing tributes outside the grounds of Windsor Castle. It's the first public appearance the royal couple have made together since the passing of the Queen. Moving on, mourners wishing to pay their final respects to the Queen have been warned to expect long queues. Details have been revealed about how people can attend the lying in state, which will take place at the Palace of Westminster. Large crowds are expected, and there are warnings those wanting to take part in the historic occasion may have to wait for hours, even overnight. People are advised to bring food and drink as well as suitable clothing. The Queen's funeral will be living tradition in action, according to the Dean of Westminster. The Very Reverend Dr. David Hoyle said it would be an opportunity for them to give thanks for an extraordinary life and an opportunity for the kingdom to give their griefs somewhere to go. And in the United States, President Joe Biden has paid tribute to those who lost their lives on the 21st anniversary of the September 11th attacks on the United States soil. In his speech, Mr. Biden referenced a message sent from the late Queen Elizabeth II at the time. And in Sweden, the election was too close to call on Sunday night, according to Prime Minister Magdalena Andersson. Exit polls at first predicted victory for the incumbent left-wing coalition, but results later suggested the right-wing bloc could narrowly win. Immigration and crime were major issues in the campaign, and the far-right Sweden Democrats look set to become the second largest party. It could take until Wednesday for all votes to be counted. Soon after polls closed, an early exit poll by Sweden's public broadcaster suggested Mr. Andersson's coalition of four left-wing parties would narrowly win, with 49.8% of the votes compared to 49.2%. The left's celebrations were perhaps premature, as later partial results put the right-wing group ahead, with a projected 176 out of 349 seats in Parliament, after 94% of the electoral districts were counted. As the race is so close, the final results may have to wait until all votes, including postal and advance votes, are counted over the next few days. Whatever the results, the far-right Sweden Democrats have made significant gains, appearing to become the country's second largest party behind Social Democrats. And in Russia, Russia aims to deprive people of light and heat by causing power cuts across eastern Ukraine in revenge for a Ukrainian counter-offensive. According to President Volodymyr Zelensky, blackouts reportedly affected millions of people in the eastern Kharkiv and Donetsk regions. The Kharkiv city mayor says the power is now restored. It comes after Ukraine said it had retaken over 3,000 square kilometers in an eastern counter-offensive. And over to Kenya, when a student asked Kenya's President Uhuru Kenyatta in 2018 about how he would like to be remembered when he leaves office, he seemed to have been caught off guard by the question before singling out two things. He said one is that he will have left a united, cohesive society, and two, that he shall have won the war on corruption. As he prepares to step down after 2 terms and hand over power to his former ally turned bitter rival William Ruto, he has achieved these and other objectives, according to the reporter. The most significant move towards national unity was in March 2018, when he shook hands with the opposition leader and former Prime Minister Raila Odinga as a sign of their political truce. And finally, in Ethiopia, the Tigray rebels say they are ready to take part in peace talks led by the African Union, removing an obstacle to potential negotiations with the government to end almost 2 years of fighting. The announcement was made amid a flurry of international diplomacy after fighting flared last month for the first time in months in northern Ethiopia, torpedoing a humanitarian truce. The government of Tigray is prepared to participate in a robust peace process under the auspices of the African Union, according to a statement by the authorities in the northeastern region of Tigray. Well, that brings us to the end of this morning's news update. Thank you for watching Channel 44. The 77 Days of Glory are back, and they are happening every evening from 6:30 a.m. to late evening as the Holy Spirit leads us. You are invited to come and join us in person. Come believing God for a miracle, and you'll live with your miracle. Bring the sick, bring the lame, bring all those that need the hand of God upon their lives. Their lives will not remain the same again. I also remind you of the Karamoja Cry. We are sending food aid to the people of Karamoja once again, thanks to those that have given, but the need is still great. Please send your seed to the numbers that will be available during the services, or you can bring it to the Miracle Center Cathedral, indicate your name, and you'll be tremendously blessed. And also you can bring stuff in kind, bring clothes, new clothes, presentable clothes, blankets and all that, as we save the people of Karamoja in this season, as we also rebuke this situation never to happen again in our nation. God bless you. We will return again at 12:45 with fresh news updates. Good morning.